put my line on the first closest one, and I drew back, and I put an arrow in it.
Starts getting rough, and I stop believing I'm not tough enough to be free. I just go on with you. That's when we know. That's when we go. When it's just us hunting.
My name's Garry and I'm from Northern Ontario.
My name is John Van Loo, and I met Rick back, 10 years or so ago. Met them out at the archery range one day, and well, everything else is history.
I met Rick back at a local mine up in Timmins. He was a mechanic up there, and we were just jabbering about hunting, fishing, and trapping. And I had a trap line up for sale at that time, and he had an interest in it. And also at the same time, he was big into bow hunting, and it was something I wanted to get into. I was a rifle hunter for quite a few years.
We both have the same love for archery hunting, and it all started back about a dozen years ago, I would say.
Rick and I, we started this maybe about 7 years ago. In the springtime, since they took the spring bear hunt away, there wasn't really anything to do.
A friend of ours has a cottage that he graciously lets us use every year. It's a beautiful log cabin along a river, and he has a substantial amount of property that he allows us to hunt on.
So we started going out there. It was just him and I. It was something we've never done turkey hunting before. We wanted to try it out.
Well, I happened to get invited. Rick said that this would be back about 5 years ago. I think the girls, it might have been their first year as well. And so we all headed up there and with big expectations.
Turkey hunting's an awful lot different than hunting the typical mammals that we normally go after, particularly extremely early mornings. If you're going to do it according to the textbook, you're going to go out the night before and you're going to put the birds to roost. You're going to try to get them to shot gobble, whether you use an owl, a crow. You could use an air horn if you really wanted to. And what that does, it tells you the exact location of that bird, and he's going to be there tomorrow morning. So when you go back in, you can set up 100 yards away from it, knowing full well you have a bird that you're going to target now and try to get to come into your decoys. That's textbook. This weekend's more comic book. It's a group of friends that are going out there. We see some of these people only once a year, and it's this weekend. And it's not so much about the kill, but the camaraderie.
We bring our family members up there. It's just a big hoot. It's actually a good celebration.
Really, really early mornings and really, really late nights.
Come on, will you stop for me?
Garry LaBelle.
Garry LaBelle.
Oh, he's special, all right. He's our comic relief.
Call him Garry the Garden Gnome. In one word, comical.
He's always carrying a lantern around like this. He's about the same height.
Sasquatch and Ewok, yeah, it's an ongoing thing.
He dishes it out like you can't believe. He's the only guy that gets away with it. And I don't know why Rick doesn't pound him. I think it's because he's so small.
He likes to put his height over me to make me feel little and belittle me, but that's okay. I accepted that.
There! I have to admit, you're a good sport. Welcome to Just Us Hunting.
In the Just Us Hunting crew, we have a camp rule that if you take a shot at any animal and you have a clean miss, everybody in the camp gets a shot at the hat you're wearing at that time, at the distance that you missed at.
My hat is peakless.
I got this nice brand new outdoor test pilot hat, which I'm not too pleased that everybody's going to be shooting at. So I'm about to place it where on the ground, and everybody's gonna take a shot at it.
What happened this weekend was he had a couple birds come in first thing, and he took a shot. Actually, he took 2 shots at the same bird. Almost unheard of.
I took a quick shot at about 15 yards, and I just shot over its back. So I start calling again, and the one turned around, start coming back again, back at the same distance, about 15 yards. Drew my bow back again, and when I released, the arrow had hit the side of the edge of the tent of my blind, and it just basically flew beside the bird, and that was it. The both were gone by that time.
Being Garry, he came back and he told us about it. Now the hat's up on the block.
Fortunately, here goes the old hat situation. So there it goes, guys. Shoot at it now. Go, John.
I got a shot at, actually 2 shots at Gary's hat.
I'm gonna wear that hat after, you know, all night long.
Everybody else was having so much fun, and the peak was almost off the hat, so I had to help make the hat peakless.
It was a brand new hat. He has a side business there. He calls Outdoor Test Pilots. Beautiful hat on his head. Totally wiped this hat out. I have never seen a hat get so destroyed from this broadhead shooting. And we just demoed it, and it was fantastic. It was fun.
Lisa, what do you think of your husband?
Oh, I gotta go have a beer.
Well, here's a tip for you boys out there that are sharpening your own broadheads. You got your bow shooting tacks. Your arrows are flying great. You got a shaving sharp edge on your broadheads, but now you want to keep them like that. Take a little bit of petroleum jelly and you just rub that on the cutting edge of your broadhead. Once you got that on there, it prevents the oxygen in the air to getting on that exposed steel, preventing it from rusting and oxidizing, and that arrow will be as sharp at the end of the season as it was when you first put it in your quiver. And that is your Just Us Hunting Tip of the Week.
Well, this one parcel of property we've been hunting, Rick and John, we split off. I hunt down in the lowland section, down past where John usually hunts up in this top section, and then Rick hunts out another lowland area on the same piece of property.
We call this piece of property the Hippie Shack. It's 200 or 300 acres, and primarily that's the area we go to. We know there's an awful lot of birds there. So our whole hunt basically happens on that property. And it's big enough that if we have 3 or 4 people hunting there, we aren't tripping over each other most of the time.
We usually quit around 10 o'clock in the morning. And that particular day, there was nothing really going on. I was calling, I wasn't hearing any birds out in the field. Nothing was moving around.
The truck's parked in a central location there on the property, and we were all supposed to come back at a designated time.
So I decided to quit a little early, around 9:30. So I started walking up to the ridge to get onto the top plateau, and I started heading towards the truck, and I could see where John was hunting, where his blind was. And here's this beautiful tom shredded right out.
It was a mature bird, mature tom, nice long beard, long spurs. Lucky for me, I was able to coax it over my way, and it was hung up out there probably 25 or 30 yards, just too far to shoot.
He's kind of stuck off over to my left side here, and I can't get a shot until he swings back around in front of us, and he doesn't seem to want to do that. He's going to stay off to the left here, so we'll just have to wait him out. He's out there about 20 yards.
When you've got the blind set up and you've got the window open that you're wanting to shoot out of, you really can't make any adjustments to the blind when the bird's that close.
Who would ever let a bird get that close to the blind? And I'm going, you know what? I think John's sleeping. There's no way, like that, I'd have an arrow in that thing by now.
It was just working its way around to the front of the blind, and it was close. Like when Garry said 2 yards, it was 2 yards.
He was waiting for that tom to come right cresting past the opening of his blind and was about to put some stainless steel in him.
I was just in the partial drawn position. I was just starting to draw my bow back when the fan just folded up, and bird head down, and it was gone. And I thought, well, what the heck? And then I catch this movement off to my right, and here's this guy wandering along, just having a good day, and then all of a sudden I can see him stop.
Oh, he must have spotted me from the fence line. So I proceeded on. I just walked right through, and I didn't see any hand movements come from the blind or anything like that. So I said, hey, maybe he's sleeping.
So he goes wandering along, and I'm thinking, that's what screwed this up, because I couldn't figure out where the problem was, but that was the problem. So I thought, well, this is the end of the morning hunt. I packed up my gear, headed back to the truck, and Garry and I had a little session on the tailgate of the truck. I had to do a little interview with him, and he had to come clean at the time, but it was all fun.
Screwed up another hunt. Well, maybe it's payback because of this hat too. Maybe could be a reason for that, but oh well.
You think everybody would be mad, but absolutely not. We're there for a good time, and that's just the way it goes.
I remember this one time, and as it would happen, it was Thanksgiving morning. Beautiful, beautiful morning. As the sun came up, you could see the mist and fog out in front of me in the field, and I heard something behind me in the bush, and I thought, maybe I'll get to see a deer this morning. And as it happened, a whole flock of turkeys came out into the field in front of me. They were probably 50 yards in front of me, and I thought, what the heck? I'll give them a call with my mouth. I called them, and the whole group of turkeys came in within about 3 yards of my blind. It was a morning I'll never forget.
My girls have bought into this turkey hunt wholeheartedly, and now they're young adults. And it's nice because now we're talking on a whole different level. We're relating to them on a whole different level. And it's really, really nice to get the family out there.
This year I had brought my 11-year-old daughter with me. She's been hearing so many stories from the last 7 years of Rick and I and then his family going up there. And I told her, yeah, I'd bring her along, and she has really an interest, which is what I really like to see. Is that's the way I was brought up, in a family with hunting and fishing background type deal.
Because it's such a short weekend, we don't have time to do it textbook. And we know the birds are around. We might not know the exact location of them, but there's enough birds on these properties around here that everybody's going to have some sort of action. You may not see a whole pile of birds, but through this weekend you will have some sort of action, and every once in a while the stars line up and we actually bring home a bird.
I've been calling and I didn't get any replies. Daphne says, Dad, you don't mind if I try the slate box? I said, sure, go right ahead. And she was scratching away, and I wasn't really paying attention. I looked across the field, here comes 3 jakes running towards our blind. So I told Daphne, turn the camera on and everything. And I got my archery equipment, all my bow ready and everything. And the 3 jakes came in about 10 yards. And I had put my line on the first closest one, and I drew back, and I put an arrow in it. Well, we got it done. We came in last night, set up the blind and everything. We came in early this morning. We heard one tom out in the far ridge over here. I did a couple calling, and I wasn't sure. I thought I heard a reply down at the far ridge over here. The next thing I look up, there's 3 jakes coming up. And the 4th one, I didn't really pay attention to the 4th one. He was right behind, and they came right into the blind. But I didn't give them very much chance. I picked out the first jake, put an arrow through, and I shot right through him. I'll have to look for my arrow after. And he just buckled off, and then I finished him off out in the tree line over here. I got my little daughter here. Come here, Daph. She's the camera girl for the weekend. And so what do you think of the excitement? What's going on? Good, eh? What are you crying for? You're happy? Yeah, that's pretty cool, eh? At that time, She, with the rush and everything going, she was kind of excited. It's till I went outside and went to do my hero shot, prepped up the camera and everything, and then I had her stand beside me or kneel beside me with the turkey. She got really emotional in excitement. Like, she was really happy that we had accomplished something together like that.
I've been hunting for 22 years. My weapon of choice is usually the shotgun because I like to hunt turkeys. I've successfully taken about 8 birds. In the off season, I get ready by putting my turkey calls in my mouth on the way to work. My dream hunt would be to go down to the States and hunt Merriam turkeys, because we don't have a lot of Merriam turkeys up here, and I'd like to start working on my my World Slam. The person who influenced me the most would be my dad, because he got me into hunting at a young age, and hunting and the shooting sports have been a big part of, you know, my culture and way of life growing up, so it's really important to me. I'm Chris, and this is my profile.
You do a lot of waiting, but it's visual waiting. The birds are right there. We're using longbows and compounds, and we want them in close, very close. And you know, we get them at 25, 30 yards all the time. But for us, we find that just a little bit too far, so we let most of them walk.
It's 10 after 6 right now. He's been gobbling for about half an hour. Sounds like he's on the ground. It also sounds like he's getting closer, so we'll see what happens. Not really responding to the call at all, but that's probably because I suck.
There's a number of different calls out there. There's slate calls. You need 2 hands to run a slate call. Not the greatest call to use when you're archery, because when the bird comes in close, you have to put that down, now grab your weapon. There's a box call. You can just, it's got a little plunger on it. Or another box call, again, 2 hands. They're great if you're shotgun hunting, or if you have a partner that can do this. Myself, I like the diaphragm call. It's probably the hardest call to use. It takes an incredible amount of practice to get proficient at it. I can sound like a teacher with her nails going across a blackboard, and some days that's good enough. I didn't have an awful lot of birds come in this weekend. I did have a nice tom come in close, and it was in behind me. The shot just never presented itself. That's about all I seen for the whole weekend. Garry seen a few birds. He obviously missed the one earlier on. And John, it didn't matter where he went, he was tripping over birds. He seen birds all over the place. It's just the luck of the draw.
These birds will gobble on the roost in the dark, which this guy did that morning. And I thought, well, good, he's definitely still in the same spot. And it took about 15, 20 minutes just at daybreak, and he headed across the field towards me, and next thing I see is this second bird coming across the field as well, and this is the larger of 2 birds, and he's actually chasing the younger bird away. There was a third bird as well, and it was a hen, so there was a jake, a tom, and a hen, and the hen went to my right, which the larger of the 2 males, the tom, followed. Finally, this jake came in, and it was about, maybe 6-7 yards, and I made a good shot on it.
Well, I guess you can consider this a success. Even though we had the big tom in as well, but he was only going to hang around for about 2 or 3 more seconds. He was off to the right there, and there was no shot opportunity. Next best thing, this jake, decent bird. I would say he's in the 17.5, 18 pound range.
John and I are pretty competitive. You know, I could tell him it's white, he's going to tell me it's black. And it's for everything.
We have this $5 bill that has a fair bit of writing on it, the biggest deer, biggest turkey, and that type of thing. And he pretty much lucks out in the deer end of it, and I pretty much dominated the turkey end of it. But we have a competition every year. We'll put it that way.
I have to give him credit. He's a pretty good turkey hunter.
The best part of the weekend is just the camaraderie amongst the bunch that's up there.
This particular weekend is mostly for family and friends. It's, you know, it's not always about trophies. It's these opportunities we have with our families and good friends, because life is so short out there. It's, this is, and especially with a youngster like mine, to bring her up that way and have an interest, well, you know, that's something we really enjoy to see.
It's a beautiful weekend. Just to be there. The hunt is extra. It's added bonus.
If you have videos of your hunts and would like to see them right here on this show, go to our website, justushunting.com, and email me directly. Who knows? Maybe one day you'd see your hunts right here on Just Us Hunting.
Well, I feel alone and I can't see why. And the cold winds blowing from the northern sky. I dream of going hunting. When life's road starts getting rough, and I stop believing I'm not tough enough to be free, I just go hunting.